Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Sudis Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Sudis. That's right, friends. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial, here to help you with your retirement planning, income planning, tax planning strategies as much as we can in a full 60 minutes of our radio program. Mr. Dale Sudis, of course, the crowd is thrilled to have you. The Rocket Man. Didn't you have somebody come in recently and actually call your nickname?
It was fun. We had a good time. He, like me and many others, have done little rockets in the past, little SDs, they call them, the ABCD motors, and you light them up, they go up 500 to 2,000 feet, and you run after them and go get them. And so you get to show them some of the rockets we do that are high-powered, and we do them way out about 40 minutes, what would be southwest of Fresno, in the middle of kind of nowhere. And they get a clearance up to 17,000 feet through the FAA, and it's coordinated through Lemoore Naval Station too. And so we do some bigger rockets out there. And the biggest I'll ever do is the one I have, which is 4-inch diameter, 8 feet, 9 inches tall. And I've put it close to 17,000 feet. Recently, I just hit 10,000 and was able to finally see it come down on its own parachute. The other times it was landing 1.5 miles or 2.5 miles away and was like, where is it? I don't know.
And that's hard for you to jog after.
No, I just run after. I just follow them. I put a string on them, so when it gets too high, I jump off the ground. No, but we have GPS tracking, but still, I wanted to see it, and finally there it was. And it landed like right in front of us, about 50 feet away, inside the what they call the range. So, the area you're not supposed to be when rockets are launching. So it was cool. But yeah, we had a fun time. That's the rocket life.
What are your hobbies going to be in retirement? Whether it's going to be rockets, whether it's going to be cooking, whether it's going to be hanging out with the grandkids, we want to make sure you're golfing. Your pickleball. I think you got to bring that up now.
Pickleball.
Wildly popular across the nation right now.
But is that dill or is that sweet? Pickleball?
Oh, good point. Or sour. Sour. Yeah. Okay. I love the Nosh in New York City when I would go and visit. Of course, you got to have your pickles and your radishes.
I don't even know what that is.
That's a Nosh. So if you go to a great Jewish deli there, you'll get a bowl of something. So it's kind of like predecessor to like chips or like an Italian restaurant. You'll get bread. You go into a great Jewish deli and you'll get pickles, radishes, and sometimes even onion in there. And it's just it's set on the table.
It's all pickled together.
Oh, it is so good, so good. All right, folks.
Can you just swing by there and maybe bring some over for lunch?
I shall. I will work on that for us.
I'll wait right here for you.
Speaking of working on it, let's get to some of the financial news and topics today. Hey, this is a big story that we have talked about over the last couple of months here. Over $90 trillion in assets that the baby boomers have amassed. But more importantly, where's it going to go in the next 30 years, right? Now, some of this is, I think a good third of this is in real estate. Another third of it is in other investments and holdings. And then just, other various kinds of holdings.
Yeah, but keep in mind, most of Americans' savings is in the form of like 401ks, tax-deferred instruments.
Yes, absolutely.
Trillions of dollars.
But trillions and trillions of dollars. But what they keep talking about is the wealth transfer. As the baby boomers move on to the next plateau of existence, where is that money going to go? And you have said there are about 3-4 different places. You could either pay it all out in taxes.
Right.
Because a lot of that, like you said, is in tax-deferred accounts. Maybe we pay it in healthcare costs, like long-term care and so forth later on in life if we don't cover that. Or
if you don't know how to.
If we don't know how to. Or we could maybe pass it on to our next generations, and that would be great. That would be nice. But if we are in a couplehood and between a man and a woman here,
interesting word.
Where would that money go first?
Let's be real. Okay, let's talk about all this. Let's say it's a couple. Lots of couples out there. Okay, you've saved all this money. Okay, and it's fun because over the years, I've asked, what do you want to do or do more of in retirement? If money's not a concern and people say, oh, I want to, join the country club, buy a boat, travel, spoil the wife and the grandkids, whatever, do all these things, right? And then they retire and they don't spend a penny. They don't do that stuff. Their money grows because just in case something comes up, we need that money. And then, of course, that money grows through the years. They die, it goes to the kids. And what do the kids do? They buy the boat, they join the country club, they do the traveling, they do all those fun things that mom and dad should have been doing, right? Because they don't know how to set up their retirement income plan. But the first passing to the generation is statistically, women are going to outlive men. So you got this couple, they've got all this money saved, and the husband dies. Well, who gets the money? Well, it goes into the wife's hands. And so more and more of the money that we're talking about, what was it, 90 trillion, is initially going to go to the spouse. And typically it's going to go to you women. And, women are going to have more assets pretty soon across America than men.
This is example. Well, I'm right. And this could be, when we talk about the wealth transfer, how about a wealth transfer between the sexes? This could be fantastic. Women having and holding more wealth than they ever have, and it comes at an incredibly great time. According to the National Institute of Retirement Security, women today believe by 80% chance that there is a retirement crisis going on because of, the smaller percentage in wages, which means that a smaller amount they're able to put into their own social securities, a smaller amount that they've been able to save for themselves. I mean, this might be a nice way to be able to come back to that gap, but I go back to what we were saying before. There's a few different places that this 90 trillion in assets can go first. And there's a couple of places where that money might not transfer over to our spouse. So you alluded to it first. You said, hey, Spike, a lot of those assets can be held in those 401ks, those tax deferred accounts.
Right.
Let's talk about tax strategies. What is the tax bomb there?
So here, you've got these great 401ks. Oh, I saved a lot and saved taxes through the years while I was working. And now I have this great big, chunk of money, $500,000, $1 million, whatever it is, right? And we're excited about having that money. Yet sometimes we don't realize now we're retired, we get Social Security, maybe some of us get pensions, or maybe we have rental properties, we've got rental income. So we've got income from various sources. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't really need that money. I don't need to take money out of that to pay my bills. Okay. But at a certain age, for most, it'll be 73. And in 2033, it'll be age 75. You have to take a certain minimum out of that account, whether you need it or not. And but again, that when you do take money out of those retirement accounts, even if you do need it, it's on top of all your other income. So whatever you've pushed your tax brackets up to, it's going to be taxed at the highest bracket. So again, I can't really say it enough. There's people I just talked to recently even that said, well, why is she saving into this, tax sheltered annuity, a 403B? It's like a 401k, but the company she works for, it's, anyway, that's how it's set up. And they don't match, they don't give away free money. So, why are you doing that when you already have, projected great pensions and Social Security, plus you have some rental properties? So it's like, why are you, no, you need more liquid, in the bank. So I would, until I get all the other details, I won't absolutely tell them you should do this. I'm saying likely you should stop contributing, whatever you're doing, $1,000, $1,200, whatever a month into that plan. It's lowering your income today, but whoop-de-doo, you're going to have big income down the road, and you're deferring the tax on that money you put in to not only a later time, but a later tax calculation that's likely going to be
right.
higher.
Let me also, though, for our listeners, I just want to swing the other way real quick, is that you're not saying to not save for your retirement. You're not saying to never use a 403B, but we're saying be aware of the difference of saving tax deferred for retirement and paying your taxes in your current year and still saving as much as you possibly can. And that there is a very big difference. And so if you're not sure how you can optimize the plan that you have, whether it's a 403B or a 401k, Do you know if you have the opportunity of an option of a Roth 401k, not just the Roth IRA, which is on the outside?
Right.
And basically what Roth means is you pay your taxes in that current year. So Dale, to use that 403b, you just want to make sure that people are saving effectively for their retirement.
Well, yeah. Even in interviewing initially with this couple, one of the concerns was not only, do we have enough to retire? Will our income last? But how do we minimize taxes? I mean, that's a common thing. And, we're at an all-time low on tax rates right now. It's kind of like taxes are on sale. Married couple can make $400,000 gross and still stay under 25% federal tax rate, which is kind of unheard of. So, again, so here's all this money you've saved. Likely you women are going to be in control of that. You women are feeling like, retirement's going to be difficult, but, knowing how to structure things, knowing, that your money will last, will take those worries and concerns off the table, right? So that's really what we try to help people do. Number one, eliminate the questions, the worries, and concerns out of their retirement.
Folks, you can call the phone number right now, especially if you are with a couple, especially if you are going to be the woman in charge of the finances. Call that phone number. Let's get you both on the same page. Let's get women in step with their own retirement. Call 833-856-1382. Call it right now. Folks are standing by. They'll schedule your appointment. There's no cost to sit down with Dale and the team here. We just want to make sure you're going to have enough funds. 80% of women right now feel that there is a retirement crisis in savings for them. What do you do about it? More about that when we get back with Dale Sutis right after this.
Are you worried about taxes eating into your retirement savings? By engaging in savvy tax planning, you might be able to create greater tax efficiency in your retirement plan. At Sutis Financial, our team of retirement planning specialists can help you explore tax-deferred and tax-free investment options, as well as strategies to help potentially minimize your tax burden in retirement. Don't let taxes derail your retirement plans. Let us help you create a tax-efficient financial plan and work towards maximizing your savings and minimizing your taxes. Call Dale Sutis of Retire Your Way and the team at Sutis Financial today to learn more about our tax planning solutions. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Is having $1 million enough to retire? For years, many have considered this to be the goal amount to have for retirement savings, $1 million. But that's the $1 million question. Is that enough for today's modern retiree? Are you sure you've saved enough for a 25 or 30-year retirement? Are you concerned about covering large expenses, including taxes and long-term care? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. With a comprehensive financial plan, you can take control of your finances to help you achieve your long-term goals. With Sutis Financial, let us help you work towards peace of mind by implementing a complete retirement strategy. Call Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial Planning right away to receive your complimentary written financial plan. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@sutis.com.
For your own custom complimentary Retire Your Way review, call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial. If you want to know more about the team and you're at home or you got a passenger next to you and they want to open up a browser on their phone, they can go to Sutis.com, SOUTAS.com. Dale always likes to highlight there's a video on the front page there where it does a little bit more about him and why he got into this business.
It will be back. That video will be back.
Did you just take it out?
It had an old logo, and so they took it down to put the new logo on. I keep getting after, hey, when's the video going to be back on? But if you want to know more about me, just ask.
That's right. Or you can write Dale directly if you want to. Dale@Sutis.com. That's Dale and the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com. Conversation that we were just having was about, sure, there's going to be $90 trillion in assets that the baby boomers have amassed and put together. But where's that going to go? Hopefully they're talking about this wealth transfer that's going to move on to the next generations. But as Dale points out, the first place it's going to go, if you're married, very likely over to your spouse. More likely women who tend to outlive us, which is a good thing. But there has been great concern by women in the country about a retirement crisis, a shortcoming of savings, not being able to put as much into Social Security. In fact, Dale, this doesn't happen very often, especially finally with those elections behind us. But 87% of Americans want people to address the Social Security funding shortfall. And by people, we mean those over on the East Coast. I mean, I would think
it's 100% of people wanted them to fix it because everybody asks about that.
Yeah. Well, I think with any poll, nobody's allowed to say 100%. But yeah, everybody wants that fixed right now.
Because think about it. People are worried about, will I get Social Security? I mean, regularly I get people saying, well, I'm going to start as soon as I can because it might not be there. And it's bad planning for long term. So, I mean, yeah, they want the government to do something. They want Congress to act on, fixing the shortfall with Social Security. And, there are some easy fixes, in my opinion. Okay, they just have to raise the income limit from currently $168,000. Because if you make more than $168,000, you only contribute into Social Security on that first $168,000. So if you make $568,000, $668,000, you're paying the same as somebody who made $168,000. So if they lift that cap, it would give Social Security more money. But I mean, being realistic, who doesn't want to pay into Social Security anymore? I mean, the new tax law was set up permanent for the corporations, but for us, normal people, the tax breaks or the lowering of brackets is temporary because that's resetting in 2026. So that automatically it'll go up unless they,
unless they also come together, unless Congress comes together on that. Congress and the president come together on that, and
But who doesn't want that $168,000 limit raised? I mean, if you think about it.
Well, the people who make over that amount, they'll be like, no, they're the ones who vote. And unfortunately, they have the lobbyists to fight against it. And that always ends up being the problem. It's like, we need people to look out for the American people, for today's retirees. Our retirees are living longer, and we need people to focus on us, not those special interests.
And I want to help calm ones down about this problem with Social Security, because if you think about it, all these politicians want to keep their job, right? And a surefire way of getting fired and them revamping, or the country going in, massive riot because they have to cut back Social Security for everybody, new and current partakers of it. So that, they're not going to let that happen. They'll do something, in addition just to print more money, but they're going to do something. It's just a matter of when and how, and so I don't want people concerned about that. But if you are, then why haven't we talked about your income plan, your retirement income plan? We can have contingencies set up to where you have ability to have the income you need, whether you think Social Security is going to keep going or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I agree with you. I know that a lot of folks would like to get this solved right now, but raising the taxes on those who make over 160, 170,000, I guess, we're not going to have less people take Social Security. One of the things that goes around is that, the millennials need to work more and start putting more into it. Okay, that's not exactly why this is happening right now. But when Social Security came out in the 1930s, there was a lot more people putting money into the Social Security. It was like 45 to 1, like 45 workers to every one person who was drawing. And now that has flipped drastically. Now it's like 2.7 to 1 workers, meaning only 2.7, and it keeps going down and down. So we need to make sure that we're funding this, that our lawmakers are taking care of it. But on the flip side, I just on the just in case, how about this? How about in the just in case, Dale? If they don't come around to it, if they keep kicking this can down the road, Are there ways that we can help ensure or protect folks in case there is a reduction to Social Security down the road?
Yes, there are ways to do that. Again, depending on what you've saved up, and I usually show people if Social Security and or their pensions, whatever, isn't going to be enough to pay the bills and do the fun things we want to do. Let's use a small portion of your retirement to set up a system where we can turn on some additional guaranteed lifetime income to fill those gaps. So if you really feel it's going to drop, then we can set up additional, means to create that, additional income you need. But, on another line, if I may, with women likely to inherit all this money, right, as we were talking about, if their spouse dies, they still need to have a system to know how to keep going and minimize taxes, because obviously women statistically outlive us men. And so you have, and I've dealt with this many times through the years. I have a couple and I work with them, and, he passed away. I mean, that's typically, when we get calls and we have one of our clients who passed away, we'll unfortunately guess who it usually is. It's the male, the male spouse.
Gotcha.
So the women, we take them by the hand and walk them through. They know what to do. When we put together a plan, they know what to do. They know they have help from us to keep guiding them, helping them, any types of questions, things like that. Even how to update beneficiaries and all the things that need to be done so that, things continue, smoothly for them.
It can be a powerful time right now in American history when that happens, as some of this now, but we also want to protect it. Now, here's another thing I'm sure you've experienced as well. We've got a woman in the marriage who's going to tend to live longer. That's just the actuary tables. But the husband maybe does need to go into long-term care, needs to have more health issues taken care of. That can start to drain down on the retirement savings pretty quickly. So now we need to address what is the shortcoming for a larger expenditure if the spouse doesn't actually, I want to say pass away, but lives a longer life but needs more healthcare costs. That could create a shortcoming for the woman there as well.
Right. I mean, typically people are, they like I was talking about, the people who are living this just-in-case retirement where we're not going to spend anything because just in case we need it. And when I boil it down, I go, well, what do you think could happen? Well, something happens to us. Like what? Well, a health issue. Okay, don't you have medical insurance? Well, yeah. Is that going to leave you broke? Your Medicare A and B and the supplement or whatever you use, and maybe it's a senior advantage, Medicare Advantage plan or whatever. Those, they have caps. So you're not going to go broke because you have a medical bill, So it's usually when you really boil it down, it's, well, what if we have to be in a nursing home or, long-term care? Well, again, what if your income plan not only had a plan for your paycheck to pay the bills, but number two, you have a playcheck to do all those fun things you want to do. And the part of the playcheck I love helping people see, I've had ones who say, well, I'd like to take a couple trips a year. And so instead of that, I build in 4 trips a year, double it, and show them their money's still not going to run out, right? That's fun to do. And then when the play does stop, then you need a care check. Whether you've bought long-term care insurance or not, the care check is one that you can't outlive down the road. When the play stops, we kick in extra money to keep you at home for care, or worst case scenario, out of a nursing home in some kind of assisted living, cruise ship on land, as we call them. So there's a number of ways, but again, if you have that plan set up, how do you feel about your retirement? We've got it dialed in. Even if something should happen that, what if, we've got it covered. So now you can be more free to do what you want. I mean, real quick, I have a couple I'm working with. He's 65, going to be 66. She's going to be 65. They've got some savings. They've got some accounts set up that we can turn on as income down the road. They've got a pension. They've got Social Security. We've got what they need to pay the bills. And we've inflated that paycheck. We've inflated their playcheck. We've included a care check. And it's interesting, when I went through the plan with them. The wife was just saying, "No, will it work?" Well, yeah, it'll work, but let me show you so I make sure I have your numbers correct. And sometimes it takes anyone a little time to understand it will work.
Education is time. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of time to have it soak in, to understand it, to go home with it. And that's what I like about your process as well. It's not a pitch. It's not a product. It is a process, and it takes some time. And Dale will sit down with you and make sure that you understand it, and it'll take as much time as we need with that. You can call the phone number. Let's get you started on your own income plan. While there's $90 trillion of assets that our wonderful baby boomers have built and amassed in their lifetime, where will it go? As it goes from one spouse to the next, we want to make sure as much of it stays with you as we possibly can. Women, let's empower your retirement. You call the phone number. You set up the appointment. We'll be glad to sit down with you. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. That's 833-856-1382. For the listeners of Retire Your Way, there is no cost to sit down with Dale and the team. There's no cost to put together your income strategy. More with Dale Sudas and Retire Your Way after these commercial breaks. November 5th has come and gone, finally. And while so many Americans had said they wanted to make financial decisions after the election was over, now is the time to get our house in order as a country and community. There are serious financial issues to tackle as a nation, including how to protect Social Security payments in the future, persistently high retail costs, and a multi-trillion-dollar taxation and budget imbalance. In fact, you could be having the exact same issues in your own personal economy. Are you worried about Social Security being there for you in the future? Are you worried about outliving your income due to inflation pricing? And is a large majority of your savings in tax-deferred accounts like 401ks that you will have to pay taxes on as you withdraw that money in retirement? As a country, it's time to shake hands with our neighbors and get our dollars working for us in a positive direction. With limited calendar time before the end of the year to take action, claim your free income, Social Security, and tax review from Dale Sudas of Retire Your Way. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial. 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial right here in California. If you want to learn more about Dale and the team, not just listen to him as a financial advisor on the radio, you can go to his website, sudas.com. SOUTAS.com. You can actually write him directly as well. We always encourage you to send in your own questions. Write him at Dale@Sudas.com. That's Dale and the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com. All right, you and I were quibbling over the break there. Cost of living adjustment on Social Security is going to be 2.5% for next year. Okay? I was about to do an applause there, but your Medicare is going up 5.9%. So that's 5.9%, as you were pointing out, on, let's say, the baseline. What is that, $174.50?
Yeah, 175 basically.
175. So that's probably going to go up to 185, 186 almost. But your Social Security going up 2.5%. Does this cover your increase on Medicare, or are we going backwards on the cost of living adjustment?
Well, it depends on how big your Social Security is, right?
Ah, okay.
So if you're getting $2,000 a month, 2.5 times 2,000 is, more than 10 or 11 bucks.
More than that. Thank you for doing the rough math on the air. Somebody in their car is doing that.
Well, because I don't have open-toed shoes on right now. So.
Oh, you're not wearing your Birkenstocks today? California financial advisor? I can't believe it. Yeah,
no, it's cold, so I put socks on before I put
Oh gosh, I don't want to picture that. You in Birkenstocks and your black socks. Come on.
That's how Californians deal with the weather.
Well, that's right.
The cold weather.
That's right. But so there is a cost of living adjustment, and it's based on the consumer price index, and there's one subtraction from it. I think it's on the daily goods. So that is about what our Fed has been saying inflation was throughout the year. But is that cost of living adjustment on Social Security, if you're on the more conservative side, is that going to help you fight today's inflation hangover? Is that going to help you keep up with the costs of goods that have gone up, Dale?
Well, I mean, obviously the last couple of years, things have gone up a whole lot more than 2.5%. So having a 2.5% increase is nice, but it's not really probably keeping up with what one's need and the increased costs here. So, I know when we were in Vermont, my wife was surprised that, when we went to fill up the rental car, how cheap gas was out there compared to California.
Oh gosh.
So,
What was it? What was it?
oh, it's like $3.
Okay. All right.
It's low
Mm-hmm.
320 or something. And anyway, it just, how do you deal with inflation? Bottom line.
Right.
Social Security may not through the years increase enough to keep up with what you need. And if you don't have other sources of income, then how do you create additional income that can keep up with inflation, that can, hopefully beat inflation for you?
Yeah. There's a lot of folks out there who hopefully are listening to the program who might still be in their working years. And there's a lot you can do. You can maximize your catch-up contributions. You could possibly consider working another year or two more. The year or two more means you're not drawing from those retirement accounts. Maybe you're not turning on your Social Security. There are things you can do. But Dale, for those who are already retired, how do we help them beat the inflation hangover? Do we have to take more risk in our portfolios? Or maybe we can discuss optimizing Social Security, because for those who've already turned it on, there aren't really a lot of leverage you can pull on Social Security, but there might be things we can do with taxes.
There can be some things. I just helped a longtime client.
Mm-hmm.
He started Social Security when he was at full retirement age. His wife's a bit younger, and she had started hers at some point, but now she's past full retirement age. So I encouraged him to have her just go and reapply Social Security off of his record, which should bring her up to half of his, which is, a whole lot more than she's getting off of her own record. So that would be a way how to strategize your Social Security is one method. The other would be not just inflation, but how do we, whether we're retired or getting close to retirement, how do we position some of that tax deferred money, our 401ks, 403bs, stuff that we saved, and it's all a big tax bomb now? How do we possibly get Uncle Sam out of that money by doing like Roth conversions strategically and pay the tax on it now when we know tax rates are low? And then when we pull money from those sources, especially if we use some of that Roth converted money for guaranteed income, now that's tax-free the rest of your life. Okay. So there's some, because you got to keep in mind, it's not just inflation, but taxes likely will go up, which is kind of like an inflation because it's taking away from what you have to spend on. So, how do you maximize your tax planning as well as have inflation built into your income plan? It's very important to do that. Don't just count on, some people don't even have COLAs, as they call it, cost of living increases in their pensions. And even if they do, how much is it going up by? 2%, 3%? What if, our inflation 1 or 2 years is 5 or 6 or more, how are we going to keep up? So we've got to have systems to build into that.
Yeah. And that Social Security that you're talking about there, whether it's the cost of living adjustment or making sure that you can take it efficiently, or that your spouse is taking it, efficiently as well, the taxes on it are something that always seems to come up with you. And that this is one of the ways that you can optimize the Social Security. You can let it grow until 68, 69, or 70, or you can, if you have already turned it on, find tax efficient ways of creating those tax-free income streams. But there's a little bit of work that goes into that. And now I ask you to put on your tax hat. What's more important in optimizing your Social Security? When you take it, or how efficient you are with your tax strategy?
Yeah. So I've had this happen many times where people are looking at, okay, I'm going to, retire at this point, and I can start Social Security early here. But then they have their tax bomb, as they call it, their 401ks and IRAs and such that are, all taxable, every penny they take out. And they've got substantial savings in addition to that. And so I show them, well, instead of starting Social Security, why don't we supplement your income, even if you don't have a pension or Social Security coming in, you are retired. Why don't we set your income? We have some money where we, direct income into your bank account, just like it's a Social Security or a pension, taxes withheld if needed. But at the same time, before you take Social Security, by keeping your income lower, you can convert more of your tax bomb, right? Convert more of that IRA 401k money to Roth IRAs, and then turn income on down the road and turn your Social Security and such on. Because if you start doing the Roth conversions while you're taking Social Security, and maybe you've already started Social Security so you can't undo it, but you're increasing the amount of your Social Security that gets taxed, and you're reducing the amount if we want to keep under a certain tax bracket when we do the Roth conversions. There's some neat strategies there for people when you're looking at, okay, I'm getting close to, or I'm retired, should I turn my Social Security on yet or not? Well, the whole picture needs to be looked at. And again, if we can get Uncle Sam out of your contracts, because I've got $1 million saved in IRAs. Great, whoop-de-doo. 401ks, whoop-de-doo. Try to close that account, put it in your bank account, see how much you really have. Uncle Sam is your partner. People don't realize that. So again, we need to coach our children, our grandchildren. Here's how you save for your future. Use the Roth, pay tax today, have it grow without paying tax on the growth, tax deferred, but in the future, that money's tax free. And along the way, even before they're 59 and a half, they can still reach in and take the money that's Roth that they put into it out without penalty or taxes, because they already pay taxes on it. They just can't play with the growth on their Roth money until 59 and a half and such.
Get your comprehensive, complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
I think as some of you who have been longtime listeners to Dale's radio show know that one of his nicknames is Mr. Controversial. So Mr. Controversial here, you're saying, everybody knows this. That is one of your big nicknames. Just like Rocket Man is also one of your nicknames. But Mr. Controversial is that we're telling younger folks right now about not saving tax deferred. And this is a total mind shift. And there's a lot of folks who are fighting it and thinking that it's actually either self-serving or it's serving to the government. No, it's about creating tax-free income for yourself down the road. But there are some people who say, well, if you're telling me to pay my taxes right now, it's going straight over the government, and I'm not a fan of that. No, you don't understand. You're creating tax-free savings for yourself, and that growth. Think about doing that for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. For the younger folks who might be listening to the program, think of how much you like to have in growth. But for what about somebody who's even 5 years away from retirement? Is it worth it starting a Roth account right now to let that grow for the next 4 or 5 years?
I've had several where, yes, I've coached them, go ahead and max out your Roth 401ks and such. But again, it depends on the whole picture. But there's a slide we show when we put on the Fresno State workshop. And it basically, the question is, would you rather pay tax on $155,000 or on $1.1 million? Okay.
I think I know the answer to that question myself.
Yeah, you better know the answer. But most of the time, people are doing the opposite. Most of the time, people are setting themselves up to pay tax on the 1 million plus.
Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe we got to start posing it in classrooms like this. Would you rather pay tax on what you owe for $50,000 that you earned this year? Or would you rather pay tax on that $1.1 million totally in your retirement? And I'm like, I think if you posed it that way, it might simplify things. But where people go to save is they think, oh, tax deferred. I don't have to pay taxes this year. That's the way I want to go. We've got to help reverse the thinking out there. And we know that it might be difficult, but folks, you don't have to teach your kids on your own, or you don't have to try to convince your spouse on your own. Give us a call. Let us help explain what tax-efficient strategies can do for you with a true financial advisor like Dale Sudas here of Sudas Financial. Call 833-856-1382 right now to sit down with Dale Sudas and his team. There's no cost to that. More of Dale Sudas and Retire Your Way when we get back right after this.
Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today and start income planning for your retirement. Call the team at Sutis Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial. You can call the phone number, as we say, every single week and get started on your own no-cost retirement income plan, 833-856-1382. Dale, as we've talked throughout today's program on the inflation hangover, it's been around that's a long hangover, 3 years of a hangover. I don't
have a hangover. What are you talking about?
Well, you don't, and hopefully you don't for your clients who you've been helping realize what these real numbers are. But there's a bit of a retirement gap that we're starting to see, and I'm worried it's going to get larger and larger and larger. As people have to spend more on their families, on insurance, on kids' activities,
food, gas,
all of it, all across the board, that we're not saving enough for retirement. I got a couple of numbers I want to throw out to you if you don't mind. From a new retirement study, 55% of Americans are worried they won't ever achieve financial security for retirement. 79, almost 80% of Americans think that there is a retirement crisis in America. Mm-hmm. Is that too much of a word, crisis? How do you feel about that? Or do you think there's certainly retirement warnings that people should be aware of?
I think it's more worries. Okay. When you think about it, a lot of people, it's just, we also, the movie we encourage people to view, and we can give them their own copy of it, is the Baby Boomer Dilemma, which exposes retirement. America's retirement experiment is what it's really about. Again, because companies are not offering pensions, like they used to, because companies are offering more of the defined contribution plans like 401ks, 403bs and such, then now the burden of how to invest for your future is on your own shoulders, right? And a lot of those plans don't give you a ton of options. The government is encouraging to add certain types of tools into those so that you could provide additional guaranteed income, but that's a recent encouragement, recent recommendation, even from the government. But that Baby Boomer Dilemma movie really helps one understand, if you want to have a secure retirement, you don't want to be worried, there are simple ways you could do it. And it's not rocket science. It's very straightforward tools, financial tools that can be used ahead of time. And even once you're retired, you could use them to, secure your retirement. But yeah, a lot of people are concerned. They think they have to have, a whole lot of money saved up. But it's all relative to, well, what do you need to spend? To maintain your lifestyle takes income. You don't maintain your lifestyle because you got lumps of money sitting in different accounts, right? It's what you have regularly, where you can regularly have money coming in to not only pay the bills, but to do the fun things that you want to do or whatever's important to you. So lifestyle is determined by income.
Okay. Now there's some numbers I'm going to break down. For those who are driving around, try not to get too caught up in the numbers. I'll do them as large as I can here, but the number, we've said it many, many times, $1 million. Do you need that to retire? You just said it depends on your lifestyle and your spend. But just some relative ideas. A couple of different studies, independent resources. Folks, you can look it up on the internet on your own if you like. Now say that a couple that reaches the age of 65 together will probably need close to $395,000 to spend on healthcare costs in retirement. That includes your copays, your pays, your premiums, your Medigaps, your gaps, all of those different coverages, and everything else that comes out of pocket, either from surgeries or for eye care. So if $1 million was the goal number, and now almost $400,000 of it is to healthcare, that means we're looking at $600,000 of it for everything else. Food, vacations, increase in inflation. This is why I wonder, from another study from Northwestern Mutual, do we need to start upping that number to maybe 1.5 or 1.7, or maybe even start talking about the $2 million retirement? What do you think about increasing the numbers, even though you say it comes to your monthly spend first? Should we be looking at a larger bucket for retirement, Dale?
I mean, even the healthcare one, you're saying 400,000, whatever. I think a big chunk of that scares people is the fact that, if they need care, that's what's going to, be the big health cost, right?
Yeah.
So having, knowing how to cover long-term care. And I'm not a big fan of the long-term care insurance. If you have it, don't worry. It should be looked at and included in your plan, but obviously. But there are easy ways to create additional income down the road that can keep you out of a nursing home. In other words, pay for in-home care, assisted living. So this need to save 1.5, 2 million, whatever. No. Keep in mind, you just said if you had $1 million and 300 used for that, and you got another 600 for all these normal expenses and such, what's not factored in is, well, how much Social Security are they getting? How much other income are they getting from pensions or rental and all that?
Good point.
So it's not like you're going to just use your whole dollars to exist. So
thank you for pointing out how simple my brain is. You're right, though. I did not think about that as far as, even if the Social Security is another 20% or 30% or 40% boost.
Yeah. What if you have, you basically just have Social Security, maybe a small pension, but you've got multiple rentals and you got all this income coming in. Okay. Now, true, rental income isn't guaranteed lifetime income. So don't let anybody fool you, because something can happen to the building and you have to, you can't rent it for a while, or they, don't pay you rent and it takes I don't even know how long to kick somebody out. But usually that's not the problem. But the point is, what do you need, to keep going? And I can't really emphasize it enough. I mean, I've had people with very little come in, and I've shown them, here's a simple way to make sure you don't worry about your money, your income. You can focus on the more important things, your family, the priorities in your life, and not, be stymied or, holding back because I don't think I have the money. No, I don't want you feeling that way. I mean, if your income will keep going, last as long as you keep up with inflation, you have money to goof off like you want to do, whatever the fun things, are important to you, then, again, it makes life a lot nicer, right? But when you're sitting there worried about, do I have enough? Will it last? Well, let's put our heads together. It doesn't cost a dime. Doesn't matter how many times you come in, sit down in front of me, leave your checkbook at home. You're not going to get a bill. That's not how we operate. If there's actually things we can do to help you, fine. You'll know exactly how we get paid from the different types of financial tools that we might use. But again, what if you just need a pat on the back to know, you're doing fine, or go tweak a little something here with your current advisor. I don't care. Just, I don't want people worried about, down the road. And it's not the amount of money you've saved. It's all about you and what's important to you, right? Think about it. I mean, I have people come in and literally, I can remember one couple, they had, saved quite a bit, but their nut, so to speak, what they needed month to month was like 20 grand. Okay, well, okay, I showed them, no problem. This is, you can have that. And then I have ones that they've saved gobs of money, oodles of money, and they are worried about, do they have enough? But they spend hardly anything. They spend less than $5,000 a month, or $3,000 a month, and no, their money's not going to run out. But they were worried about it. That's no way to live, is it?
No, not at all.
No.
And and when you're saying if you got, as you said, technically oodles of money, if they've got gobs of it, they probably had good working careers. So I mean, on $3,000 or $4,000 a month, their Social Security probably comes close to covering that. Where, as you said, for others who spend more on $15,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 a month, obviously you're going to go through your savings a lot faster. But there are ways to evaluate. And I'm not saying that you need to cut back never like really the word budget or budgeting, because that kind of feels like a diet, but maybe coming up with a spending plan to find out what you're spending efficiently and maybe what you're spending inefficiently. And this just takes, a second set of eyes, somebody who is agnostic to your situation, somebody who cares about your well-being, but who is maybe not as personal about your money and your situation. And if you've never had anybody evaluate, put together a real income spend plan, not a budget. I don't want you to feel like it's a diet, folks, but an income spending plan. Here's what we can spend every month and live like this for the next 25 or 30 years. Then do yourself a favor. Call the phone number, 833-856-1382. We'll get you started on your own income plan for retirement, or at least review where you're at. And Dale, like you said, he'll talk to everybody. He'll talk to anybody. So if you're serious about retirement planning, if you're wondering about how to get started or to do a review, you'll talk to anybody. And let's especially talk to those folks out there right now who either feel like they don't have enough, or how much do they have to sit down with you? Is there a dollar amount for that, Dale?
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. We don't advertise, okay, you got to have $200,000 to come and see us.
Yeah, I always hear those
Or
commercials.
$100,000 at least investable. No, I don't care what you have. You might not have anything. You just have worries and questions. Come in, let's sit down, put our heads together. Even if, there's nothing for me to be gaining off of you, I can certainly give something to you, hopefully. And then you're going to tell others what we do. That word of mouth is still, we get more word of mouth people coming in, referrals, than we do from any other advertising source. So it's just because that's the way we do things. You don't worry about what you have. Just let us help you know that it's going to last.
Yeah. And what do you always say? There's a sign on your desk.
Yes.
What is that?
It says, not to spoil the ending for you, but everything's going to be okay. That's how I want you to feel.
All right. Thank you, Dale, for all of your time again this week. 1 hour financial planning strategies and tips for you out there. But if you'd like to get them personally for your exact situation, give Dale a call, 833-856-1382. Folks are standing by to schedule that appointment. There's no cost. There's no obligation. Let us just see if Dale and the team can help you be and stay retired. Thank you so much for listening to Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis. We'll be back again with a full hour once again next week.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Sutis with Sutis Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal and tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies.